Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another video on how to mod Gears of War 3. In this occasion, uh, I'll be talking about how to get your custom characters on to show up on the select screen, the pre-game lobby screen and in the multiplayer settings. Wait, hold on. Yeah, this menu is barely functional, so bear with me here. This was server travel. No, actually, just pulled me back. That's not what we want. Start gear. Yeah, that's it. On the multiplayer menu here. How do I get my characters to show up in this menu at all? So basically what the game does to get your character to show up in here is read an INI file right here, which is the default game and gear game INI. Actually, I think it reads the default because it just told me that it got modified. So yeah, with these two files, what the game does is like assign a COG character summary here, which basically tells the game how to manage basically everything that's shown in here. So for instance, we got class path name here is, well, the path for the character class we're doing. For example, here is Sibyl. It's actually the same one here. And it also points to some other assets, like for example the portrait icon. You actually don't really need to change this since it's that same like COG logo you see on the left. And there's also the character portrait large and small lines. The character portrait small is actually that tiny icon that shows up with the A button, where it's like the head. And the large portrait is actually the one that shows up on the left, like the whole character image. And you also get a line for your profile ID and a couple of other flags, like for example the disabled flag and the leader flag, as well as an award name in case you want it to be tied to a certain achievement. In this case, we don't attach anything to achievements, and we also not make it disabled or leader. I think you can make it leader, but like you need to have specifically one character for that. So yeah, unless you don't make Prescott a leader anymore, you want to put this on false. Now, you also need to modify the gear profile settings script, which is located in SRC gear game classes, gear profile settings. Basically in here you want to add that CMPC code from the profile ID here. In this case I called it CMPC Sibyl. Well, you just go ahead and cram it over here as well. That way it actually shows up over here. And that's very much all you really need to do. Like just modify those INI files and compile that script with the profile IDs attached to it. Now, where do I get the whole renders from here? Well, there's actually two ways of doing it. Yeah, that was actually a bit of a mishap on my side. My materials were kind of messed up, but yeah, it's fine now. Now, as I was saying, there's two ways of getting a neat picture for this. Hold on. There's two ways of getting a neat picture for this. The one I used for most of this, except for Sibyl, that one actually was from Unreal 2004, I think. I just kind of used it because I didn't want to post anything, but for the rest here we used a green screen map that was present on the January build of the game. For you to not download the whole 100 and something gigabyte thing, I will probably give out a link in the description for it. But there's also just doing it on Blender. Like, you can very much just do a neat setup for your character here and then just importing um, importing an FBX of a weapon. For example, I think I had a retro lancer flying around in here. Let me get it real quick. Just import FBX. And there it is. The rifle. I would actually advise though, because FBX automatically does most of the work for the textures. It actually does a weird thing for the alpha here and also for the normal map. Like, the normal map is not even that one, so I would advise to just grab the correct texture from the get-go. So let's just go with what before here. And there's the diffuse. Oh my god, I only had the diffuse here. Really? Well, you can always just export it out of the game, but I don't have the editor open, so let's do that. Alright, I'm back with the editor. You can actually export the textures if you need them. So retro lancer, here it is. Because we got the diffuse out of on the FBX, but we don't have the rest of the textures, which is the specular stuff, which I think you can actually map them right. So yeah, you can actually just click here and export the file. It exports it automatically as a TGA file. So let's get it into your correct folder where you were exporting your stuff. So that retro lancer, just save it around here. We'll get that and the normal texture. Export the file. Yep, right there. And now we can go over here and there they are. Let's get the normal texture, which was the one I was talking about before. Make sure your stuff is also plugged into non-color. That looks a little better. IR, let's actually grind that down a bit. With the metallic being on 1, shouldn't be that metallic actually. Maybe crank down roughness a bit. That, and there's also a specular thing you can actually plug into. So let's also add the specular texture. What the fuck did you do? No, take this guy out of here. No, you're supposed to plug it into here, and let's open up the thing. S for specular. Actually, that's a 12 megabyte file. That's crazy. I think you plug it into non-color and it should work. Or whatever. You can pose your character in here and then get a neat render out. As long as you go into your render properties in here and you make the film transparent. You take this, because otherwise it's just like a gray thing as a background. This makes it transparent. That, and to make the actual size of the output here, not 1080 by 1080, but it needs to be the exact same resolution as the already existing images, which I remember was pretty low. Interface. Yeah, UI portraits. Yeah, here it is. There's the chart portraits for every single character here. It needs to be 208 by 272. That's one hella weird resolution, but it needs to be like that. I want to do it in here actually, but I'm gonna save you up on the posing, I think. Or you know what? It'd be way fun. It'd be more fun if I actually post the entire thing up live. So let's do that. But I want some cool music in the background. Alright, so once you have your pose ready, you have to do the 108 by, I forgot how much, 272 length. So let's go 272. And that is very much everything you need to pull out for this. Actually, I think the assault rifle in this case is pretty big compared to the character. It should have shrunk that a little, but for right now, I think it works fine. Like all we really need to do is move our frame a little bit and should pick up pretty nicely like that. You can always tweak it out a little more if you want, that is. Alright, so now we just click render and we got a render. Very low quality render, but this is the render that will end up being in the game. So, you know, just save as. Actually have a whole different thing in here for my textures and stuff. So let's get onto portraits. Save this one as Targa, RGBA, you know, it's gonna be perfect for portrait. Save it like that, and you can actually just import it into the game. So let's do that real quick. I'm actually gonna do it on the same package as the character. So we're just gonna make a new folder for UI stuff. Let's get the image. Importing. Yep, we're gonna call this UI. of reported peak and version settings. I should work just fine like that. And texture group UI MIP gen settings. I believe it doesn't even actually use MIPs for this. So just import it. Yeah, have no maps. That's what I was expecting. And then you can go into the texture build. We don't actually need it to be sRGB, so undo it like that and save it. The game also requires a picture for the head, actually. Let me see how big that one needed to be. Portrait small. 52 by 52. That's stupid. Whatever. Make it 52 by 52 in here. Pretty sure this is not a good idea, but I'm just making it quick here, just to kind of demonstrate this. So, geez, let me get closer. G, Y, move it upwards. Actually, I think we should kind of like this, but should rotate it like that, maybe. And walk a little away, move a little bit to the right. This should work, but we don't need the body actually showing. It just needs to be the head. So go into your edit mode and just select anything pertaining the head. The rest has to go. That's fortunate. You can always just put like that the wrong way. Just select circle and just unselect anything around the neck and just select everything else. That's still on the camera. That is, you need to unselect, like select everything. So I think that and just disappearing the shirt that I had separated before should do the trick. So just hide it and go back to object mode. That actually didn't work. Let's just actually let's select those, hit it, then Alt H, then I guess we can erase it for a little bit for the render. So render image. Wow, that actually doesn't look like anything. I don't think this is gonna be a good idea. Let's actually do it double the resolution. Instead of 52, let's do 104 by 104. And we can scale ourselves up from there. And actually the camera's actually off center for this. Let's try closing in. You know what, I actually should work so an image. That actually works out just a little bit better. But like the shirt is also showing for some goddamn reason. Let's just do a little move and render it. Yeah, it should work. Except it's still off center. Hold on. Let's center it better. Gee, like that, I guess, and like this. Better. Yeah, that should work. Let's get the view layer since it's gonna black and white it itself like that. So let's just do that. And SM portrait save. Okay, as for the second method, you will need to pop into your editor and open up the map file. Although I will actually hand you over a T3D file that you can use to actually import a map. So instead of open, you will go into import, into new map, and you will select your T3D file, and it will actually import as a map. Once you have the map open, you will see this neat green cube with this grenadier inside of it. What you want to do now is click on the grenadier so it's actually blue. Right click it, select the skeletal mesh actor properties, and in here you will actually see a skeletal mesh property. You basically need to get the custom mesh on there. So just make sure it's selected on the content browser and click the green arrow. And you will have your character sitting there in that awkward pose. Now you can actually change up the pose by switching out the anim sequence name here. It says NW underscore idle ready alt B. Well, there's supposed to be a bunch of animations you can actually use, but you will mostly be using the idle animation. Now, to actually check what animations are available, you will go into the actual Marcus Phoenix package and check the anim sets from here. Most of the animations are actually gonna be inside new layered new cam scale. You can see it on the left, right there. Once you have uh, the asset open, you can actually check all the other anim sets on the anim set editor. But you will just go ahead and expand the tab, the browser tab, and you will see here a bunch of animation sequences. Those are basically all of the animations you can use for this. As I said, you're probably going to be using the NW idle animations. So those are actually located at the very bottom of the list since it goes alphabetically. The first ones are going to be the additives, and then it's going to be the idle stuff. So you can see there's NW idle ready, NW idle ready A, Alt B, and Alt C, as well as a walk animation. You can use actually any other ones that are here. You can just type them into the properties and they should work. Right, so in this case, I'm probably going to be using Alt A or B. Well, it's already using B, so why not use B? But you can just type them in and check how they look on your character. Also, to move around on the map editor, you use right click and the west keys. Check out A. You can also change the time if your animation has multiple frames. You can very much pick modifying that number. I'm checking out C here. It looks pretty good, I think. Yeah, once you have your character all set up and done, I would actually recommend moving that camera a little bit. I believe there was another one, but I cannot find it. Whatever. With the camera selected, click on the eyeball thing to lock selected actors to camera. Select the actual camera. This way you'll be actually moving the camera for other characters if you're doing those. So, just put it into a nice place. Here it looks pretty good. So there, just click on that G button to get rid of all of the light that show up over there. So, just close everything else up and just take a screenshot of the screen. So just, I believe on some computers you can actually press FN and print screen to actually make the Windows app show up and get a screenshot going. Looks good enough like this. So after that, just go into your preferred image modification program. Here I'm using Paint.net. Gonna create a new image on 832 by 1088 since it's the same aspect ratio as the reduced resolution version, which is 208 by 272. Whatever, triple the resolution actually makes it work better for scaling if you're taking your screenshots on a 1080p screen. So go with it like that and just scale it to your liking. Looks good enough like this, I think. Once you have your character all set up, you can actually use the magic wand to select all of the green spots and delete them. And they should be transparent. You can also be nitpicky and get rid of those spots as well. Those two should be big enough for the scaling to actually pick up, but the rest should be fine. You don't need to be this nitpicky. I'm just gonna speed up through this. Right. Once you are all set up with that, you can change the size of the picture to actual 208 by 272. It automatically got 272. So you just click a step like that, and it should be pretty good to go. If your image is actually bigger in game, it's not gonna scale it up. So that's why we need it to be the exact same resolution. So just save it on whatever you're working with. Setting it up on my custom portrait folder here. GS for green screen. And it should be good enough like that. But we also need the headshot of the character, so just go ahead, grab your eraser and just get the head showing up. Oh, well crap, I'm not selecting the layer. Right, there you go. And I just erase it. Get the tiny parts. should be in. And after that, just grab the head and throw it around on the left corner. Like that. Then you just need to uh, rescale the actual image to be a square. I believe it should be good enough on 104 and 104 by 104. Doesn't need to be the exact same size for the actual head image, fortunately. And then just center it so it looks good in game. So once you have it ready, just save it up as a TGA again. Now SM for the small portrait, and it should be good to go to actually add it and import it into the game. Like so. Import our head. It should work fine. And then just texture viewer and like that. Now we can go ahead and actually do stuff in here. So grab a line from the INI that's already existing, and then we're gonna add a new line here referencing our new character. So Wolfie, and yeah, it's actually not named like this. Copy the name from here, full name to clipboard, paste it like that. Actually, it doesn't need the texture 2D stuff, it just needs the correct path to it. Just gonna be that. Same thing here. Oh wait, no! This is the texture we need, the material, I think. At least for the small head portrait, I think they do have a material here. Yep, they do have one. Create a copy for it. You already know. I'm pretty sure the ones that are over there are not actually using this. So that head icon, check from plane. Yeah, that works. I think the character should use that, but the actual script here shouldn't need that. Just with this, paste it here and just go with SM code and portrait. That one was portrait big. So yeah, this should work. Let's create that new line and paste it over also on the script. So here, comma, and the new one. Okay, I forgot something pretty important here. You're supposed to actually go back to your Gearpong class file and actually assign the material and texture over here. So just grab your, here you're actually supposed to use the material from HUD we took. So, you right click, copy full name to clipboard and get it on the head icon material and small character headshot. I'm not sure where exactly this is used, but just make sure to have your actual custom texture instead of just using the default one. So I'm going to clipboard and paste it. Also remember, anytime you actually edit anything on the scripts, on the UC files, you're supposed to go ahead and compile your script, otherwise the changes are not gonna show up in the game. That and I think that should be pretty much it with the whole texture setup. And I think that should be it. I also like just copying this one over to GeoGame INI, but pretty sure that this file is updated from the default one. So let's load this up, do our scripts, and then launch the game. So compile. Okay, the game finished compiling stuff, and my suspicions were correct. The game actually just updates the scripts from the default into Gear Game, so just do it on default to be sure. Once that's done, let's actually open up our game from the actual executable file, otherwise we're not going to be able to see the menu. So let's go into the binary, Gear Game, get the controller up. Alright, the game loaded up, let's check it out. So you should just go to multiplayer and stuff should work. Yep. Characters in the game, but there's no text. That is normal because the text is actually configured somewhere else. It's supposed to be on that int file on your game localization folder. And it actually uses the same character summary as before, so just copy one and just paste your character name and bio, like the ones that are showing up here. So let me just get a custom one that I already did, like this, and just paste a new one like that. It's supposed to have the same name as the one that you made in default game, so it's supposed to just be Wolfie actually. Yep, and you Wolfie and just write whatever you want in here. So I'm just gonna that should work, and just save it, and the next time you boot up the game you should actually just read that up fine. So let's open up the game again. Shouldn't take that long. And for a moment of truth, let's check it out. Multiplayer. Yeah, also the build is not actually gonna save up any of the default stuff. I actually modified the default profile like preset it had to actually select those. So you can see here, yeah, it's Wolfie, and that Wolfie from Fortnite. Yep, that's very much it. That's how you get your character actually showing up in the menu. One thing though, on normal regular build of September, menus are not gonna be working from the get-go. And even then, like, if I go into a match and actually try to select the character, it's not gonna work because, well, the code is pretty broken and, well, it's just not programmed to actually work. So, you know, check it out over here. On hold on dry dock, it's not gonna pull up the character file. I'm probably just gonna spawn as Serious Sam because that's what the default profile preset is coded to right now. Yes, so you check. See, it's just Sam. This is why we need a functional version to work on. Because yeah, half of this shit doesn't work when on the September build of the game. So yeah, someone in the community has to bless us with a working game to actually mod to, right? So you know, just to one. Well, I think it also had the stuff from before, so yeah, we can just do that. And yeah, we're playing. I'm gonna play for that a little bit for cutting out the video for shits and giggles, I guess. There you go. Alright. Blow some shit up. Oh shit. It feels so cringe doing that. Let's get that. Let's get that drone. It's acting pretty retarded. Oh crap! Come here, you! Yeah, watch this shit. Upper bit down, baby. Yep. Drop like a potato sack. Potato bag. Segway papa. God damn it. Anyway, yeah, it's very much how to get your character working with the menus, physics, and mostly everything, not the gore yet. So, yeah, hope you do some crazy shit with this information now. And, yeah, see you on the next one.
It's my life and it's now or never. I ain't gonna live forever. I just wanna live while I'm alive. It's my life. My heart is like an open highway. Like Frankie said, I did it my way. I just wanna live while I'm alive. 'Cause it's my life. Better stand tall when they're calling you out. Don't bend, don't break, baby, don't back down. It's my life and it's now or never. 'Cause I ain't gonna live forever. I just wanna live while I'm alive. It's my life. My heart is like an open highway. Like Frankie said, I did it my way. I just wanna live while I'm alive. It's my life, and it's now or never. I ain't gonna live forever. I just wanna live while I'm alive. It's like an open highway. Like Frankie said, I did it my way. I just wanna live while I'm alive. It's my life.
Go crazy. Go stupid. Go crazy. Go stupid. Go crazy. Yeah. Go stupid. Go crazy. A little bit.